Paul here at TikToker, and it's a Monday, and it's coming into the end of the month, end of the quarter, and what that means is exhaustion. What that so what is exactly is exhaustion? Well, let's take a look. So things will trade by price and time, right? And so what you're seeing here to start the week, if you look at the S&P Spider on the 60, you're going to see the inside 60. We gapped up, right? That's it. The question is follow through, right? And what do you got? Because we're starting off the week, and you can see this doji week because we just started the new week, and we're inside 60 to start off. Now, to be fair, we are taking out last week's highs if you go to the upper middle, right? Taking out last week's highs. The question is, how does that play out? Do we stay up there? Do we keep working our way up, or do we start to go outside to the downside? We don't know until we can get this discernible break. So for the rest of the day, these inside 60s is something you're going to want to know about because it's also doing it in the Dow Jones Diamonds here, right? Real tight range to start off. Now, as we come into the end of the month, we're also going to have a new quarter, right? That's going to start soon, right? And why that's important is that you'll have institutions giving allocations and saying, what do we want to do coming into the election, coming into the new quarter, right? And they're going to tell us, but we got to wait until they do tell us. And what I mean by that is if you look at this monthly here in the lower middle, right, and you go here, this was a new quarter, right? And so guys watching 200-day moving averages saying it's below the 200-day, I'm like, don't care. It's like this was a new quarter, new month, and once this started going up, that tells us that the allocations were on the buy side coming into April. So now we've got an outside month, and a lot of outside months we've talked about. Always ask yourself, what's the next two? And what I mean by that is, how do we take out last month's highs or lows? How are you going to do that, right? And once we open up the new month, what's the direction of the aggregation? Are they buying or are they selling? We don't know. But we got the outside month, right? That's your broadening formation on a shorter time frame. But now what's going to happen? So as far as we know, we took out last week's highs, right? That's positive, right? The question is, do we stay there based on these inside 60s, right? That's what we're going to want to know, right, going forward. So coming out the chute, a little strange, but they're doing what they're doing. They're buying pandemicers. Wynn Resorts here. Still inside in the week, but coming up, and you're going to see like Marriott taking out yesterday's highs and getting closer to taking out last week's highs, right? But don't give too much credence to this just yet. It's a Monday, and so you've probably heard of Turnaround Tuesday, right? Well, Turnaround Tuesday, all that is a negation of what happened on a Monday, but that happens with the hourlies, that happens with the weeklies, all these kind of things. So what we want to see right now is, can this market do this? Hold this break of last week's highs, right? That's going to be, I can't stress this enough. And then coming into the new quarter and into the new month, what are they doing in front of the election? So you've got stuff like Boeing coming up here. Now, how would we know about something like Boeing? Things that I've talked about over and over and over again. Here, you'll notice in the upper left, the outside day, right? Took out both sides. That's a broadening formation. The two down, expanding that. The reversal on the daily here on Friday, right? So when you have this reversal, the two down, the two back up, where's your magnitude? It's going to take this out. And it did that. Now you also gain that by doing this. The weekly. Shooter, hammer, boom, 2-2 reversal on the week. Did that help? Sure did. Sure did. And people say, they're not making any money, it's pandemics. We don't care. I mean, we would prefer to have no symbols and have no knowledge of the company because we're trading price action. Completely different ballgame, right? Because a lot of people will have that mental baggage of thinking of what this company should be doing, right? We don't care. It's price action. So you got the Boeing doing that. You got airlines coming up here. Delta, right? Delta, 2-2 week here. You see that? United Airlines. Here, trying to take last week's highs out, right? And you're going to see this on the daily upper left. stop them out, back into an outside bar. Magnitude is to take that out at least. Now you can see that higher high, lower low, broadening formation there. So, as I can't state enough. We want to see what these futures do coming out of these inside 60s, and then do they stay outside of this, all right? So if you want to have a real good mental note on what you're looking at to start the week, this, either side of these guys' range, and then does it stay out of there, all right? That's going to give you a real good advice on what's going on. We've got Whirlpool. And Whirlpool, still inside month, but on a day when we open as we have, all right, when we open inside on all this stuff, one of the things you want to look for is anything taken out the last week's or highs or lows, right? That tells you at least there's an attempt at direction, all right? And so at this point, Whirlpool trying to go up, right? You can see that. And Whirlpool is nice here. You can see this taking out last week's highs 2 weeks ago, then taking out last week's lows, and then coming back through. And the reason that's important is these two give us an outside bar of that. And since we know that exists, outside bars exist, that's what we look for. Or something new like snow. Snow, still inside of the week, but it's a new issue, and this thing moves around quite a bit, and so you might want to, it's not for everybody, but you might want to keep an eye on like a 5-minute, 15-minute on this thing, because it does move around and give the signals. We'll see how that goes. So here's what we look for right here. Taking out the previous high, taking out the previous low, and then boom, right here, as these become an outside bar of this. You see that? And that's a nice move. That was 244, right? And by the time it topped out here, it was at 252. That's not a bad move. If we go to DraftKings, here, this was in the weekend video. The inside week, right? This was inside of that. Didn't take that out, didn't take that out. And they tried to hit it, didn't work, came back up. So when they take this out here, the magnitude is only to take that out. Hopefully we get more out of it. But as you see here, on the upper left, these three are an outside bar of all this. And that's what the key to gauging magnitude is, understanding what outside bars are, whether it be on the time frame that you're looking at or not. If we go to space, the final frontier. And space, little gap up, and you can see here, the gap was a bit of an issue, right? Because we prefer to move through things. But what's important to understand is the setups that we constantly look for. What is this? That's an inside week, pokes down, boom, reverses back through. So it hit its magnitude to come through all this stuff. The question is whether it steps up or not. And so if we go back to a 60 here, potentially you get the inside 60, and that'll tell a few tales. If we go back to the SPY, still watching this thing. Inside, inside, inside. Future still not giving us an indication on which direction we want to go outside of the gap up. All right, that's important to know. Cirrus Logic. So Cirrus Logic, CRUS, takes out yesterday, Friday's, and last week's highs. Right? And the reason this is important is it was also in the weekend videos. What is setting up for the new month, for the new quarter, right? So if you go to the lower middle, you're going to see this outside month. And then we took it out to the downside. But now we come back into that range, and we know outside bars are fractal broadening formations. Has to be. Took out the highs and the lows. So as we come to the new month, potentially, if you can take this out, then we become an outside bar of all that. So that's what we're potentially looking for. If we go to frog, new issue, not bird, nor plane, nor even frog, just little old me, underdog, and his signals. Check it out. What do we look for? Inside bars, right? Is this inside day? It is. Is this an inside day to the upside? It is. And so one of the ways to play this, right, is that this high was 77.17. Right? It opened at 77.48, so slightly above that, right? So we don't want to chase a gap, but what you can do is you see this wick, Once it comes down and then comes back here and goes green on the day, you can take it right there because that's a re-break of the inside day with time frame continuity to the upside. Right there, you can take that. So that's a nice move here. That was the open 77.48, trading 82.49. What's $8 amongst friends? That's not bad. Okay, if we go to PLL, what do we look for? We look for this: the gap up, the spike down. Now you could have taken this on the short side here because maybe that's a 2-2 reversal. Maybe it tanks, but if it doesn't, you stop out. And a lot of people have trouble being able to go both ways. So like, oh well, that didn't work. I'm gonna try something else. No, now it's 2-2 directional, up, stop them out, boom, right here. And what do these two bars become? They become an outside bar of that because outside bars exist, right? Correct. Look at this move. This was 32, jammed up to a high of 53.96 in 1 hour, right? That's good trading. We can do that. You've got Ulta coming up. Ulta. And Ulta, just an inside day. Is this one of the reversals we look for? It is. 2 down, upper left, 2 down, inside day, back up through previous range, right? Looking, this hopefully would pick up some steam if we can take out last week's highs because you can see Doji on the month. In general, doing nothing, so this would be a very short-term signal. Marriott going to the highs. That's pandemia still. And once again, you can see this outside day. We're looking to take this out here. 97.86. Give me 97.87. On the downside, we look for outside bars being created as well. So we got ZM. And ZM openings an inside weak, but red. Inside day, upper left. Right? Pokes up and now coming back through. We're looking to go outside day. That's called a 1-bar rev strat. Right? So we're looking for signals to the downside, and you can see how this was created here. It poked up on the 60. Here was your 2-2 reversal here on the 60-minute. Below, let me get my glasses, 500.01. Trading 482, there's another $18 by just knowing what I told you, right? $18 and counting, right? It's not that hard. You've got Netflix. Netflix, potential outside day. This is what we look for because we know outside days exist. Now, we're still keeping an eye on these futures. The diamond's trying to take those 60 to the upside. I want to be aware of that. But anytime we can have signals, oh, what's this? Do we look for this? The 2-2 reversal on the 60? I think we do. For the potential outside day. That was a low of 485.25. So there's another $5, and I know that's not much, but we'll take $5, especially if you're trading options. If we go to MongoDB, MDB, here's another thing you look for. A big potential outside day. This is a big day, right? Maybe it makes it, maybe it doesn't, but if it does, that's a big move, right? Here's the outside in the lower middle, the outside 60, 3, 1, 2, Chicago for magnitude to take this out. And the reason that magnitude is, we use that as magnitude, they were willing to pay up and they're willing to sell down. Then they met in the middle, right? Who's tougher? So far it was the sellers. And so the sell point was here, taking this out, and that's 228.41. The magnitude was to take this out, 226.10, which it did, right? And then you can defend that and see if we can keep working on our outside bars. So it's a Monday. We're coming to the end of the month, end of the quarter. We still have these inside ranges that need to break. Diamonds are trying to take it now. And what does that tell you? What does Dow Jones Diamonds starting to take this 60 to the upside tell you? It reminds me of what I already told you. Who's in the Dow? Boeing. Bam! All right. So like as always, all my videos here at Ticker Talker are free at the Smith in the Black channel. So mind everything I just told you, and that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith, the Smith in the Black channel here at Ticker Talker with the Strat Time Report.